Living in East Texas in the winter, I'm sure that you are no stranger to the cold. And while we go through the winter season in East Texas, I'm sure that you've seen many winter weather alerts, including blowing snow, ice, winter storm warnings. But we did have an update to what those warnings and watches actually mean here in East Texas. And I'll tell you what they mean and what the updates were. So one of the most common things that you'll see in the winter is a winter weather advisory. That's issued before that storm comes through, so about 24 hours before it comes through. And it means it's going to be a significant weather event. But then something that's a little bit more immediate is when we have a winter storm warning. That means we're going to have lots of cold temperatures, snow, ice, and sleet. The amount of snow, though, really varies depending on where you were, and that's the update that we just got in October of this year. So depending on which county you're in, it depends on how much snow you'll see under a winter storm warning. The areas in this darker blue here expect 3 inches of accumulating snow. That includes most of the DFW metro area and up to Red River County. For most of East Texas, we'll expect about 2 inches of snow under that winter storm warning. That's still a very significant amount that can impact travel and your day-to-day life. Down to the south, not as much snow is needed for that criteria. Only about 1 inch of snow is needed there. But whether you get a winter storm alert or another type of winter weather alert, it's very important to know what they mean. So if you get an ice storm warning, you can expect about 1/4 of an inch of freezing rain to accumulate on those roadways. So it's best to stay off of the roads if you can during that time, because it could be very slick and there could be some hazardous driving conditions. Also watch out for blizzard warnings, and you guessed it, that means there's going to be a blizzard. So lots of snow, but also gusty winds. That's when wind gusts could reach 35 miles per hour and whip up all of that snow, and that's when visibility is really going to drop. So again, you want to try to stay off of the roads. But ahead of either of these advisories or warnings, you could also get a winter storm watch. This is when we have a very, very high probability of seeing a significant weather event in the next 12 to 24 hours. That means we have all the ingredients to create that winter storm in the next 12 to 24 hours. And that's when you want to start preparing for any winter weather. So a couple days out, you want to make sure that you have any supplies that you'll need, any emergency supplies, and you want to make sure that your car is filled up with gas ahead of time in case you can't get out on the roads. About a day out, you want to make sure that you are double checking the forecast, because that's when we'll start to see our weather patterns kind of solidify, so you'll get a better chance or a better idea of when those storms are starting to come through. Adjust your plans if you need to. That way you're home when that storm comes through, and be sure that you bring your pets indoors ahead of any winter weather. But then during the storm, you want to keep off of the roads. Try to stay inside if you can, and double check on your loved ones. In the event that you do lose power and you need to use a backup generator, be sure that that generator is 20 feet away from the house or more. That way you can prevent any risk of fires. But what is most important before, during, and after the storm is that you're staying weather aware. The best way to do that is to check in with the National Weather Service, checking them on their website or their Twitter page, or checking in with your local meteorologist for the latest update on the forecast.
Brr! Winter has officially begun, and that means we have to prepare to endure some of the coldest temperatures we will see all year. There's an easy way to do this, though, and it's called protecting the 4 Ps: people, pipes, pets, and plants.
I got to dive a little deeper into each of these categories and learn why and how we can make sure to properly protect the 4 Ps this winter. When it comes to extreme cold, everyone is considered vulnerable, especially those who may not have anywhere to get out of the weather. Thankfully, we have shelters in East Texas who want to make sure people stay safe when it comes to cold temperatures.
So when the temperature drops, we want to encourage anyone that's unsheltered to come into the shelter for safety purposes. Whether it be our shelter or somewhere, we just want people to be safe.
And it doesn't take freezing temperatures before the Salvation Army starts setting up cots for those in need of a place to stay.
We watch the temperature as soon as the weather starts changing. And for us, it's about 40 degrees.
If you know you're going to spend prolonged time outside in the cold, do your best to dress in loose-fitting layers and cover as much exposed skin as you can. But people aren't the only ones spending time outside this winter. Our second P stands for pets. We have to make sure we protect them too. It's important for your animals to have a place to get out of the elements.
Make sure that you give it a warm place that it can go. A doghouse with blankets inside and old towels. something that is going to keep them out of the wind and block the wind. That you can make a cat shelter out of a Rubbermaid container and some styrofoam, just things like that, just to kind of break the wind off the animals, get them in out of the snow, ice, rain, whatever might be out there, and try to keep them a little bit warmer.
You can still let your animals outside. In fact, they still enjoy time outdoors even if it's cold. Just keep in mind, if it's too cold for you, it's too cold for them too.
As the cold weather comes in, the most important thing that you need to think about is how long the weather's going to be cold and how fast it's going to get cold.
Our next P is for plants. While most plants are usually pretty resilient, they survive best when the weather slowly cools off rather than having a cold snap. Either way, we learned multiple tricks to keep plants alive when the temperatures drop.
So one of the easiest ways to cover a plant is the floating row cover. And this can be anything from the really nice fancy blankets that people buy and use in the greenhouse trade, or it can be just the flat sheets you have extra in the linen closet. Then there is the tunnel effect, which is usually done with plastic, and you actually have hoops that hold the plastic off your plants. And then we have something called a cloche, which is a smaller version of the hoop tunnel.
And to water those plants when it's warm, we have to protect our pipes when it's cold. Our last stop was with Rub-A-Dub Plumbing, where we learned easy ways to save your pipes during a freeze.
To prevent pipes from freezing, I always recommend putting faucet covers on top of any outdoor hose spigots, as well as if you have any exposed plumbing, to put insulation, which you can get from most hardware stores. And I also recommend, again, a good functioning ball valve to protect the home.
And in case of a plumbing emergency during the winter, it's important for homeowners to know where their shutoff valves are for their home. Stay warm and stay safe this winter. With CBS 19, I'm Savannah Hale.